Hello, Capricorn Risings. Welcome to your monthly zodiac reading for the month of May 2025. As always, we are going to pull an overall energy theme for the month. We will pull tarot for each week, clarify that with more tarot, as well as wrap it up with some additional oracle guidance. So let's see what Capricorn Risings need to know for the month of May. Capricorn Risings need to know for the month of May. Alliance, a conjunction. So a conjunction happens when two energies, whether that's the sun and the moon, whether that's for, say, Pluto and Mercury, when they're sitting very close. So essentially they're like sitting next to each other at a table. And a conjunction is an alliance, right? It's a beneficial connection with two energies blending together, right? So this is card number 51. 5 is change, it's challenge, it can be conflict. And 1 is about the self, it's creation, right? So it could be that you are experiencing challenges and you may be required to really take a look. How can I don't want to say how can I create alliances, but how can I contribute to this? How can I contribute to making things better? How can I contribute to making things easier? If you are experiencing changes, it could be that you're experiencing these changes within yourself. And it's like, how can I almost like bring alliances in? How can I bring in help to help me, so to speak? Let's see what the tarot has to say for you guys. Here in the first week, the 10 of Cups, very nice. The 10 of Cups represents like emotional fulfillment, the ultimate emotional fulfillment. Like it's one of those moments where you wake up and you're like, man, I feel rested. I feel fulfilled. I feel loved, almost like so much to the point where your cup runneth over and you really want to invest that into other people, right? This is the week that Pluto is going retrograde within the sign of Aquarius. As we know, as you've heard me say, retrogrades are more of an internal expression versus an external expression, right? So if your second house, this is your house of self-worth, material and tangible like wealth and finances, if that is kind of been going through this transformative period, Pluto is going to go retrograde, and then this energy is going to begin to shift inward. And it may be where you need to reevaluate some of this. What do those things actually mean to you, right? How can you transform those things into something bigger than yourself? We also, that's happening on the 4th. On the 10th, Mercury, the planet of thoughts, ideas, and communication, is moving into the sign of Taurus. Taurus sits in your 5th house. This is your house of creativity, self-expression, children. Loving that right there for you. Children. It's also the house that represents like maybe one-off love affairs, but overall our lived expression and our lived experience. Self-expression, lived experience. There we go. Here in the second week, the sun, holy stuff. Like you guys are really happy the first 2 weeks of this month. That's brilliant because the sun represents happiness. It represents joy, inspiration, right? Feeling really, really good about things. This is the week that you've experienced the full moon within the sign of Scorpio. full moons are a buildup of energy. They're a culmination and a peak, and they can feel very intense, even in a sign like, especially within a sign like Scorpio. Right? So this full moon has a tendency to reveal things, and it could be revealing where things are really going well for you. Okay? But full moons allow us to take a look at what's working and also take a look at what isn't working. And we can ultimately release things that aren't really working. And for you guys, Scorpio sits in your 11th house. This is your house of close social friendships, as well as your hopes and dreams, your aspirations for the future, right? So it could be that you guys are feeling very inspired, very happy, very fulfilled with where things are heading in your future. And maybe you meet new people. You're meeting someone new that you can build an alliance with that can help you work towards those things. Here in the third week, this is when Gemini season starts on the 20th. We've got the King of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so when the King of Pentacles is in reverse, he really is almost like, I don't want to say super selfish, but he does have the tendency to focus only on what he wants, only on material wealth and material gain, right? While that's not necessarily a bad thing, I know that you guys are kind of, that's your energy. You guys are like the CEOs of the zodiac. But in this case, it almost becomes a detriment, right? This is when Gemini season starts. Gemini for you guys sits in your 6th house. This is your house of daily habits, your health and work habits, co-workers, and even like pets, okay? So I'm kind of getting the inkling that it's almost like you guys are burning yourself out. It's kind of like if you guys have been working towards something, it reaches this peak here in the first 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden the energy is going to like downshift. And it's almost like if your day to day is focused so much on work, on material gain, and not enough on investing things that you ultimately want long term that are not related to material things like tangible growth, money, then what is it all for? Like if you're not investing into long-term relationships, whether romantic or platonic, what's the point? If you're not investing in the things that make you happy on a daily basis, what's the point? Right? Because like people say at the end of the day, you can't take money with you. You can't take it with you. Doesn't mean you want to spend it recklessly, but on your deathbed, are you really going to think about how accomplished you've been? Or are you going to think about the relationships that you've built? Are you going to think about the joy that's been created by expressing joy? Does that make sense? So here with Gemini season, it's starting off with the King of Pentacles in reverse. This sometimes can represent a like a financial hardship, going through a financial hardship or a financial strain, but I don't necessarily get the feeling that that's what's happening here. This feels more like almost like burnout, to be honest with you. But we'll see what the rest of the cards have to say. Here in the 4th week, the King of Swords direct. Wonderful. I almost said lovely jubbly. I heard that phrase earlier today and it just kind of stuck with me. I almost said lovely jubbly. Anyway, the King of Swords. This is someone who is incredibly intelligent, someone who, it's Aquarius energy, so it has the tendency to focus a lot on what they know, the experience that they've gained, and the actual intellectual knowledge that they've acquired over their years. But they are a visionary and they have the ability to look at something from a higher perspective, so to speak. They're very disciplined mentally, but they are kind of detached emotionally. Here, this is the week that Saturn is moving into Aries. Saturn is the planet of time, karma, boundaries, restrictions, and limitations, and it's moving into the sign of Aries. Aries is the sign of like its bold expression, right? It's almost like impulsive action, right? Aries is the fire starter. This is in your 4th house. So Saturn is moving into your 4th house. So you guys could feel maybe certain limitations around your physical home, maybe limitations around, I'm kind of like getting the feeling like maybe your emotions have the tendency to get the best of you, but here you're meant to focus more on mental discipline. And the reason I say emotions is because the 4th house represents our emotional security, whether that is within our physical home or our internal home, right? How we feel within ourselves. On the 26th, Mercury, the planet again of thoughts, ideas, and communication, is moving into its home sign of Gemini. This is your 6th house. Your 6th house is being activated. So it could be that you've got a lot of ideas on things that you want to do, right? Because again, the 6th house represents our physical health, and it represents our daily habits, like our routines, our work habits. And so Gemini moving in, it could be that you gain a little bit of clarity and putting in, like I said, looking at things from that higher perspective, right? Gaining that clarity from that higher perspective. On the 27th, this is also when we are experiencing the new moon in Gemini. So new moons represent new opportunities or blank slates to set intentions around something. And it could be that with the new moon in Gemini, you guys are, oh, you know what? I am a little bit burnout. Like, I don't want to be burnout for the rest of my life. I don't want to do X, Y, and Z for the rest of my life because it feels more like a loss. I'm tired. It's taking its toll on my health, and I need to shift gears. And so the King of Swords is there with the new moon and Mercury to provide you that sense of clarity and that sense of higher perspective on really what it's going to take to help sustain you long term, like long term. Let's see what this has to say, what this deck has to say. So here in this first week, the 10 of Cups, the 9 of Pentacles. Yes, this feels almost like hard work paying off. That's what this feels like. Because the 9 of Pentacles is known as the Lady of Leisure. She is someone who has devoted her time to her self-care, to her personal growth, essentially to all of the things that she values. And as a result, she's built an independent and comfortable life for herself. And the Ace of Swords. But it's almost like there's no new ideas. It's almost like you guys reach this pinnacle. You reach this pinnacle of feeling fulfilled and success. Like I said, your hard work is paying off. But it's almost like this lack of clarity on like, where do I go now? What do I do now? And like I said, Mercury is moving into Taurus. Taurus is your 5th house. And maybe you're quite literally speechless. You're like, I can't believe I did it. I can't believe that I created this thing that I wanted. I achieved my goal, and now I don't know where to go from here. I don't know what to say. Kind of like really being left speechless. Here in this second week with the Sun, the King of Cups, feeling emotionally stable, emotionally content, and almost very tapped in to your own intuition. He is Scorpio energy. So with this full moon in Scorpio, like I said, it's almost like for you guys, this full moon is revealing these accomplishments. It's revealing where you feel very emotionally satisfied and even just inspired and fulfilled. Very happy. And then the 8 of Cups in reverse. And it's almost like the Eight of Cups in reverse, it can represent going back to something emotionally. You guys could be doing that in order to, for some of you, it could be that you're revisiting a time in your life, something that emotionally stands out for you. Scorpio is the sign of depth, and it's the sign of alchemy. And when we alchemize something, we're kind of alchemizing emotions. So it could be that the sun being there, this feeling of accomplishment, this feeling of joy and working towards your future, you're feeling a very emotionally satisfied. And the full moon is just maybe reminding you, this is how far you've come. This is how far you have come. This is what you have overcome. This is the transformation that you have gone through. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. Here in the second week, the King of Pentacles in reverse and the King of Pentacles direct. Okay, now the deck has jokes. All right. And the Nine of Cups. Again, it feels like feeling very content with where you are. You're burnt out, but feeling like very comfortable and confident. Feeling very satisfied and grateful for the investment, for the time that you have invested. Right? So this deck's got jokes. It always blows my mind when that happens. One card comes out reverse or direct, and then the same exact card comes out the opposite direction in the next pull. It blows my mind. And it always just makes me giggle. So I'm like, y'all think you're funny. But that's kind of what it feels like. It's like, whew, like, y'all, I am so tired. But I have worked so hard, and I am so proud of myself. That's what this feels like. It feels very much like pride. Being proud of where you are, being proud of what you accomplished. Okay? Just take it easy. Okay? Because again, this is your sixth house. Sixth house has a tendency to activate our physical health. Okay? But it could be, again, not so much like feeling this sense of accomplishment. You're like, I don't want to focus on work anymore. I don't want to focus on money. I don't want to focus on anything else. I want to focus on what makes me feel happy. I want to focus on the things that I truly feel grateful for. Because never forget that Taurus energy is also about self-care. And I say Taurus energy because the King of Pentacles is ruled by the sign of Taurus. Taurus is our physical health as well as our material security, right? So it's important to remember that our physical health is an investment. Our mental health is an investment. Our emotional health is an investment. Our spiritual health is an investment. And when we allow ourselves to slow down and recognize that, those are the investments that are going to pay off. When I say long term, that's what I mean. I'm not talking about your career. I'm talking about deathbed long term. Because on your deathbed, you're going to think about all the emotional, happy, joyous experiences that you've made. You're going to find, hopefully, all of the things that you've grateful for that you had the chance to experience over your lifetime. Not just how many trophies are on your wall. Okay? Here in the last week, the King of Swords, the Magician, seeing things clearly, seeing things from that higher perspective, and realizing that you truly do have the ability to create the life that you desire. And this could be manifestations coming to fruition. And the Queen of Wands in reverse. So when the Queen of Wands in reverse, she can struggle with her self-confidence. She can struggle sometimes with codependency. She can be a little impatient and impulsive, maybe a little on the fiery side. Again, Saturn moving into Aries. So the King of Wands is there to remind you, like if something occurs this week where it's like things don't quite work out the way you plan, don't let your emotions get the best of you. Don't fly off the handle. Look at things from that very intellectual perspective and realize that you've cultivated all of this success so far, that any tiny little setback, it's nothing. It's really nothing that you need to be worried about. Okay? Let's see what do Capricorn Risings need to know? What additional guidance can we give Capricorn Risings? Here in the first week, it's time to take action. It may be with the Ace of Swords in reverse. It's like, don't think about it. Feel it. Feel it. You've clearly been doing this long enough to know what steps need to be taken. So there's no need to think about it, right? There's no need to wait for the go ahead, because the Ace of Swords can represent an opportunity of communication. But if it's in reverse, there's no communication coming in. And if you're being guided to take action, clearly the Nine of Pentacles is like, you know what to do because you've been doing it this long. You don't need for this wait. You don't need to wait for the go ahead. Don't overthink it. Just take action. Your commitment is being tested. So even though we're here with the Sun, even though we're here with the King of Cups, if something emotionally is coming up around the full moon in Scorpio, Scorpio represents our emotional past. It represents things that we hold on to emotionally, and we kind of use it as a shield. We use it as armor, so to speak. But if something is coming up for you that emotionally kind of makes you feel like you have to reach out and control what's happening, you don't. Because the King of Cups is like, look, we've been through this before. We survived this feeling before, and we don't need to allow it to rock the boat. We don't need to allow it. We don't need to allow the emotions and thoughts of others to shift or to affect our own happiness. Okay? Here, look at the bigger picture. I said that there, but and I said it here with the King of Pentacles really being burnt out and be like, you know what? I am done focusing on material wealth. I'm done focusing on status. I am done focusing on power. I'm done focusing on money. I want to invest in the things that make me happy. So looking at that bigger picture. Here, the end of a tough cycle approaches. So even if there are things that are feeling frustrating, again, don't be impulsive. Don't act on it. Look at things from that higher perspective and recognize that you have created and cultivated and manifested every single bit of success that you have experienced so far, and there's no indication that that is going to change, right? So I truly hope this reading helped. I hope you guys have an incredible month, and we will see you next time.